order for let's spill the tea.
Aw,
Hello.
hello.
Kelly's sicky again.
Uh, I blame Skylar because their boyfriend got them sick, and in result, because my immune system is still recovering,
You
I
got
got
sick.
sick. And so did my mom.
Oh, well, just don't come over because my sister has surgery on Friday.
Yeah, I kind of didn't plan on leaving the house. So,
I just had to put it out there. Don't plan on coming here.
well, I guess that's my tea this week.
I actually don't know if I have tea this week.
We really got a lot of it out last week.
Oh, never mind. I'm not
Oh,
gonna say that because no, not a good idea to say that.
what, that today would have been the day?
No, I was gonna say something about work, but
Maybe we
I'm
shouldn't
not.
talk about work.
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
That's so
um,
valid.
I'm alive. I'm not having a mental breakdown right now.
Damn, can't relate.
I would be,
But you're not.
but I'm not. I guess my tease, I helped him try and figure out what he wanted to do, and he has landed upon either physical therapy aid or physical
Uh-huh.
therapist after some like physical therapy aid, then become a physical therapist after some schooling, or physical therapy aid and nutritionist combined,
Okay.
like two different things.
I'm sorry, everyone listening. I am going to be sniffly today. I am
Ew.
that sick. Yeah. I will do my best to edit it out, but I feel like
No,
you're
it's
talking.
fine.
Anyway, you said you made tea today. You're actually drinking tea.
I am. It's green tea.
I have a raspberry hibiscus tea.
Ooh, see, I want that, but my stepmom buys lame tea, and I'm broke, so I'm not buying my own tea. I fear.
That is so valid. I added a little bit of vanilla creamer and white chocolate syrup. White chocolate and raspberry is a good combo.
It is. That's the only way I like. That's the only way I like white chocolate.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
Good
like
to
white
know.
chocolate,
Good
or
to know.
like the ones that have like the crunchies.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we both have shorter stories, so it's gonna be a bit of a shorter episode today. Unless like we derail like we always do. And
It will probably still be shorter anyway.
yeah. Um, should we just jump right into it?
I mean, I feel like we don't have much to say.
Yeah. Nothing's going on in our lives, so
Feel lame right now.
all right. I'm sorry. I am actively dying.
Goes to start her story, starts choking instead.
Yes, exactly. So, this is a bit of a survivor story in a different sense than my Allison Botha story. Um, Today we will be talking about Elizabeth Fritzl. Do you know who that is?
Um, no, I don't think so. Unless you tell the story, maybe I do.
Her story has been adapted into many like films. So like yeah, there's even like one that came out maybe like 5, 6 years ago. I can't remember that I watched. And did you watch Ant Farm growing up?
Yes.
Do you remember Lexi?
Yeah. Yeah.
She played, well, the character that's based off of Elizabeth in the most recent adaptation. So she went from being on Disney to being the girl in the basement.
Uh,
You're
I feel like
starting to put
this.
the pieces together.
Yeah.
So we're going to start this story off by saying, how would you feel if you were locked in the basement of your childhood home with your captor living upstairs with his wife unknowingly searching for you, but you're just underneath her feet?
That's really sad.
hmm So, I guess I'll say our antagonist of this story is Joseph Fritzl. He was born April 9th, 1935 in Amstetten, Austria. He was an only child raised by a working mother and a severe alcoholic. Um, so his dad left when he was 4 years old, and neither of them initiated contact, so they were, what's the word I'm looking for? They were distant. They didn't care. They didn't want to reconcile, reconnect, whatever words. So in 1956, when he's 21 years old, Joseph met 17-year-old Rosemary, and the two of them together had 3 sons and 4 daughters, including Elizabeth, who was born April 6th, 1966.
Hold on. How old was this man?
He was 21 at the time. She
Okay.
was 17.
Still not great.
But this was also the 50s.
Yeah, I was gonna say my grandparents were 17 and 31, so
Can't really complain.
yeah.
So around the time when Elizabeth was 11, Joseph began to sexually assault her. So this started very early on, the abuse. So around 1981 or 82, he began plans to extend his cellar, including adding electricity, a toilet, sink, stove, fridge, bed, and making it soundproof. Gee, I wonder what's happening.
That's really, see, no one was alarmed by that. No one was like, I wonder what this man is planning.
Um, to be honest, I don't know, like, if his family really questioned it, in all honesty, because he could be like, oh, well, we just survived 2 world wars and the Cold War and all of that, because this is the 80s now. He
No.
could just be like, it's a bomb shelter.
Okay, fair.
Like,
I
I
feel
feel
like
like
that's fair. I feel like I still would have questioned it though.
but then again, it's Austria, so like, he he very much could have played the card of preventative measures, you know?
Okay, fair. He had a way out.
Yeah. So Joseph already has a criminal record going on. So yeah, it's not good. So
Okay.
in 1967, he broke into the Lynn's home where he raped a 24-year-old nurse while holding a knife to her throat and threatening to kill her if she screamed.
Okay. Okay. What did okay.
I'm not done. Not even close.
Okay.
Suspected of an attempted rape on a 21-year-old female.
All right.
Indecent indecent exposure.
Okay.
This man served 12 months of an 18-month sentence. So he got out early. And he was suspected to be the murderer of Martina Claudia Posch, but there was not enough evidence against him.
So, okay, so you're telling me this man was sexually assaulting his daughter, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Raped a nurse, attempted to rape
Mm-hmm.
someone else, and is the suspected murderer of somebody else, and no one questioned further.
Also, don't forget the indecent exposure.
Oh, indecent
He
exposure
was
too. No
he was a
one
little naked
questioned
out
further.
there.
No one
Nope.
questioned this man. That makes me even more alarmed that no one questioned further than, oh, it's a bomb shelter.
I don't know if that's actually the case, Corey, okay?
But like, if that's really what people were like going with, they were like, oh yeah, it's a bomb shelter. This man has awful history. And you're like, yeah, I'm sure it's just a bomb shelter.
I got nothing for you.
Okay, continue.
So, in August of 1984, this is when Elizabeth's life would change forever. Fritzl asked Elizabeth to help him fix a door in the basement. So when she went to leave after helping, a cloth was placed over her mouth and nose, so she blacked out. She literally put together the last piece to her home for like the next 24 years.
That's really, that's like, there's gotta be some sort of symbolism in there.
She is currently 18 years old. She will not get out of here until she is 42.
That's crazy.
It's insane. So, to access this cellar, 8 doors needed to be unlocked and gone through. It's
Okay.
disgusting. The
8
final
doors.
door, the final door was the one that she helped with. So she literally put together the last piece.
No one else was going, like, in their family, was like going down in the cellar and being like, why do you need so many doors?
Honestly, with his criminal record, if I was like his family member, I wouldn't want to question it. Because then you could be
Yeah.
considered an accomplice.
I would
The
have done
less you know, the better.
I would have done the shit that what's her name did from the Ted Bundy case. I can't remember her name now. Where she was like,
Klopfer?
where she was like, I'm gonna pretend that I'm all great, but I'm gonna file reports with the police.
Oh my god, they're both Elizabeths. Elizabeth Klopfer and Elizabeth Fritzl.
Anyway.
Moving on. So her family never really questioned her disappearance because she always threatened to run away. So they were like, all right, she finally did it. She's gone.
I burnt my mouth. I'm sorry.
Dumbass.
Ah!
Oh my god.
Okay, you can continue. Hold on.
Can I continue? I'm like concerned. She had to fucking mute herself. So like while Corey's being an idiot, I guess I'm gonna continue. Um, so Joseph claimed that the reason he imprisoned her was because that she was smoking and drinking and not following the household rules, so like being a teenager, I guess.
Yeah, because that's a reason to lock your teenage daughter in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
If my parents
Apparently.
would have taken that measure, I would I don't even know.
So, like I said, for the next 24 years, Elizabeth lived in her prison under the family garden where she was constantly abused. Are you eating another chip?
My mouth hurt.
So you put a sour cream and onion chip in your mouth.
Yes, because my tongue was burnt, so I needed something like to soak up the burn.
Listeners, do you see what I have to deal with?
It's smart.
Anyway.
Ellie's blowing her nose. Ooh, you blow that nose, girl. That tissue having the time of its life right now.
Girl, you need to shut the fuck up. Sorry, I didn't think you wanted to hear it.
It's okay.
So, the first few days that she was started her imprisonment, he strapped her arms behind her back with iron chain and secured it to metal post behind the bed.
Oh,
Yeah, she could
great.
only move about half a meter to the side.
So she's just stuck.
She's
like,
trapped
in place.
I'm pretty sure, like, if you think it's probably like a torture position.
Yeah.
Cause
So she doesn't even have free roam of that room that she's in. She's stuck.
not for the
like-
beginning.
Okay.
So after 2 days, he moved the chain from her arms to her waist for more mobility. Like, oh, so nice. You're letting her roam a little more in her prison.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I don't have the exact time range, because it hasn't been confirmed, but somewhere in between 6 to 9 months in, he removed the chain completely because it was hindering his sexual activity with her.
Oh, so for his own benefit.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, you put 8 goddamn doors in here. I don't think she's getting out.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe just, let her sleep comfortably at least.
If you're gonna torture her and sexually assault her, let her sleep in a bed.
You ready for one of the worst sentences I'm about to say?
I guess.
Throughout her captivity, she could have been raped nearly 3,000 times. Which I'm curious about something.
What is the math of that?
That is
How many
literally
times a day?
That's what I'm doing right now. I just have to pull it up. How many days in 100 years? Okay, so in 24 years, there's 8,760 days. So for over a third of her captivity.
Great.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say little over 8 years she was raped. And with her father, she had 7 babies
Like
because she
in
couldn't get an abortion.
Well, yeah, obviously, but where are these babies going?
Well, that's my next line, if you would like me to tell you.
Yeah.
So 3 of them stayed in the cellar, and 3 would return upstairs at the Fritzl's doorstep, abandoned by Elizabeth. I will get to the 7th child in a second. I got a
Okay.
couple bullet points. So Joseph would force her to write letters that basically he would then go to the postal office and have them mailed to Rosemary, being like, "Here's the baby, I don't want it," kind of thing. Even though I'm sure you would still want your child, even though the circumstances aren't the greatest.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the 3 that are left at the doorstep probably lived a better life
Probably.
because they, were allowed to leave.
Yeah, they weren't stuck in a cellar.
So she would claim that she was doing okay, but she was struggling to care for the children. Obviously it's very depressed, and it's just a horrible time for her.
Yeah.
So the 7th child, um, it was a twin. His name was Michael, and he died shortly after birth. He had severe breathing trouble and died at 66 hours old in mom's arms.
Oh, that's really sad.
It is really sad. And so Elizabeth obviously had no medical help for any of these deliveries. She did it all on her own.
Ow.
But Joseph
Painful.
provided disinfectant, dirty scissors, and a pregnancy book from the 60s. What?
Like dirty scissors to cut the umbilical cord?
Yup.
Oh, so Infection City.
Oh, don't worry, there was disinfectant. He gave her disinfectant.
Oh, so like, did he want her to die? Like,
Well, my next line literally says he would continuously threaten her and the kids that if they tried to escape, he would kill them. So, I don't know.
he liked having a plaything for sure.
That is 100% what it is. So, sometimes the family would be punished by him turning off all power to leave her in the darkness, and he would not deliver food for days.
Great.
So, We have 3 children upstairs: Lisa, Monica, and Alexander. So social services allow Joseph and Rosemary to be the kids' foster parents. Nowadays, with a criminal record like that, they would not, but
Absolutely not.
it's the 80s, man.
Yeah, they don't care.
So once the 4th child was born, he decided to enlarge the cellar chamber, whatever you want to call it, from 35 meters squared to 55 meters squared, which, if you don't use that system, it would be 380 feet squared to 590 feet squared, which is still very, very small.
Yeah.
Elizabeth and the kids were forced to dig soil with their bare hands for years. Because, like, remember that it's under the garden? So, to expand it, he made them do the work and dig through it.
How old are these children now? Like
Oh,
toddlers?
they're little. They're little.
Oh, great. So that's a great start to life. Okay.
So, when they had good behavior, he gifted them a TV, radio, and video cassette player. It's so they had slight access to the outside world.
Very,
They got to
very
see.
slight.
Yeah.
They could see what was going on, but not do anything about it.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So Elizabeth would be the teacher for Kirsten, Stefan, and Felix, the 3 kids that got to stay downstairs. Because, the kids can't go to school, so she has to teach them everything. But also remember that she got trapped when she was 18.
Yeah. Did she even finish high school?
I believe she did.
So, like, basically finished high school and then went down there.
Yeah. Pretty much. So, Joseph would threaten everybody that they would be gassed if they tried to escape or get electrocuted if they touched the doors. There was no gas supply downstairs. And
So
the
it's just
doors were
empty
not.
threats.
It was empty threats. It was to scare them.
Because they didn't know better. He could have done anything.
So, Elizabeth being held captive for 24 years, she would finally see her road to freedom on April 19th, 2008.
Oh, so I was born. I was alive. We were alive.
You were alive. We were alive.
I was 4 years old.
So her daughter Kirsten, the one downstairs with her, who was now 19 years old, fell ill and then unconscious.
Imagine living your entire life in captivity and becoming like a teenager and like never having seen the outside world.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to her.
That's horrifying. I could never imagine like living. Okay. I'm gonna shut up.
So Fritzl agreed to take Kirsten to the hospital, but kept Elizabeth and the boys in the chamber. She was taken to a local hospital and was diagnosed with kidney failure.
Oh.
So medical staff began to question his story and how she got sick. He claimed that her mother was in a cult and had letters proving it, but a church and a cult expert raised doubts because they're like, this doesn't seem right.
Okay.
What is the cult? Sorry, what?
What does the cult have to do with anything?
Basically, that's why she wasn't around.
Oh, I was gonna say, did they think that she was like poisoning her daughter because of the cult or something?
This man was a little interesting.
Okay.
So the notes seemed like they were dictated and oddly written. So they were like, we need to figure this out. On April 26th, he actually opened the cellar door and let the three of them go upstairs. So, um, it was so they could go like see Kirsten
Yeah.
in case like something happened. He was trying to be nice, I guess.
Trying.
Trying, yeah. The police were tipped off of the Fritzls being at the hospital, where he was then detained.
Oh, great. Detained for what?
Basically, they knew that his story was off, so they then went to question the family.
Mm.
Elizabeth was actually reluctant to give details because, she was worried about dying and them believing her.
Hmm.
But she still provided the details when she knew she would never see her dad again.
Oh. Okay.
So the following night, Elizabeth, her kids, and Rosemary were taken into care, and Rosemary claims that she had no idea what was happening.
What? How? How do you not know? I'm sure you can hear people downstairs.
It was soundproof.
So you're telling me in like 24 years there was never a tip that like something weird was going on?
Corey, I can't get into the minds of people.
See, this
I
is
could not tell
why
you.
I would not like survive, I fear. Like if I was in that situation, like if I was in the Ted Bundy situation, like maybe yeah, I would have survived because I would have known better not to like open my mouth. But if I was
Yeah.
in this situation, I would if I got like any like hint that something was fishy, I would have been like, the what the fuck are you doing? And then I
Yeah.
would have probably been subject to the same thing. So this is why I'm not as smart.
Yeah. Rosemary had no idea. Somehow. Don't ask me how.
All right.
But DNA definitely proved that Joseph was the bio father. So the story was adding up and making sense. Oh, poor woman. Um, on March 19th, 2009, after a 4-day trial, Joseph Fritzl pleads guilty to the charges of murder by negligence, Michael, the
Mm,
twin,
yeah.
enslavement, incest, rape, coercion, and false imprisonment. And then he was
Okay.
sentenced to life.
Good.
Agreed.
Good.
To be fair, I was not totally aware about murder by negligence for the longest time until like recently.
Yeah.
But like that makes sense. It is his fault.
It is his fault.
Michael needed
100%.
medical care.
Yep.
So the family that lived downstairs would need so much therapy through the years to cope with their new lives. It's
Understandable.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Kirsten would be tearing her hair out in clumps.
Oh, understandable.
Stefan couldn't walk properly because he was 5'8" in a 5'6" room. So he always walked with like a hunched back, pretty much.
Oh, that's so uncomfortable.
It was. So the kids had many anxiety and panic attacks. The upstairs kids were being treated for anger and resentment towards everything that happened. Because
Mm-hmm.
finding out your mother actually lived downstairs and your father, who you thought was your grandfather,
Is your grandfather and your father?
is your grandfather and your father. Yeah. All children would have genetic problems due to incest, as we know from many, many years of inbreeding in some
Ooh.
cultures. Later on, Elizabeth became estranged from her mother because, she really didn't pursue her missing persons case. She kind of just believed everything Joseph was saying.
Yeah. Understandable to be
And
mad about that.
in many adaptations, they kind of have the mother being like, "Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? I want to find my daughter. Where is she?" But no, she really didn't like try. It's kind of sad.
Well, they do that in movies to add conflict.
Yeah, they wanted to have the couple fighting, pretty much. So, now the family is living a much better life, thank God.
Good.
So, Elizabeth's story has been adapted into many media stories, including a 2008 documentary, The Longest Nights: Secret of the Austrian Cellar, the 2010 documentary, Monster, Joseph Fritzl story, 2021 Lifetime movie inspired, Girl in the Basement. That's the one with Lexi from Ant Farm.
Yeah.
um,
Lexi.
the 2009 book, The Crimes of Joseph Fritzl, Uncovering the Truth by Stephanie Marsh and Bojan Punkuski. That's a weird one. And the 2009 book, Secrets in the Cellar by John Glott. But thankfully, the family has now moved on. They're getting the help that they need. And Joseph is rotting in prison.
Great. Icons. Getting better.
And that was The Girl in the Basement, Elizabeth Fritzl.
That's really sad.
Yeah, I learned about this by watching that Lifetime movie. Because I was like, oh, what is this? And I didn't know it was based off of this Elizabeth Fritzl story at first. No, I definitely recommend it. It definitely, they twist a couple of things here and there. Like,
no story based off of real life is ever 100% accurate.
Yes. Unless it is literally just a documentary.
Well, yeah.
But even then, there can be mistakes. The Lifetime movie is a more modern approach to it. So the cellar doesn't have 8 doors. It's just like 2 doors and they're electronic. You use like a code that he changes every now and then. But he still did the turning off power thing to punish her. And just have her lay there suffering in the darkness.
But then the doors wouldn't be locked.
I would say they're on a different circuit. Also, would she know? Would she even think of that? Like,
I don't even know. Movies have to be realistic.
Yeah, and are they ever?
Sometimes.
Not enough. All right. We have short stories today. Hit me.
Okay. Hold, please.
Holding.
Okay. So speaking of movies, the reason I chose the story that I am doing is because I watched my favorite movie over the weekend.
What's your favorite movie again?
You'll find out. Okay. You'll find out when I start explaining.
I think the white chocolate curdled a little bit, and now my tea is gross.
Ew. My tea is still burning hot.
Well, I'm not drinking my tea anymore.
Ugh. Okay. So, for this week, we are going about 25 miles north of New York City in Westchester County along the eastern bank of the Hudson River to Sleepy Hollow, New York.
Fuck yeah!
Now you obviously know exactly what's getting covered because Sleepy Hollow. But yeah, my favorite movie is the Sleepy Hollow movie with Christina Ricci in it.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so honest with you. You never told me that.
I don't talk about it that much, but that is my favorite movie.
I can tell.
I love that movie so much. When I was a kid, it did give me nightmares though, because of one specific scene. Like when I was like super little. There's like
valid.
Yeah. I was like 7, and there's like this one scene where like this mother is like, "Oh my gosh, the headless horseman is coming," and shoves her son like underneath the house, like in the floorboards. And the headless horseman comes in, and the son like listens to the headless horseman like decapitate his mom, and then the head rolls and lands on top of the little boy where he's looking up through the floorboards, and then the headless horseman is about to leave, but turns around and rips the child out of the floorboards.
Gross.
Yeah, that scared me when I was a kid.
I can imagine. I'm switching from tea to cherry Coke. Let's hope this sounds good. Did it sound anything? Did it make a sound?
It did.
Okay. Did
But
it
it was a
sound
good
terrible?
sound. No.
Okay. Keeping it in.
So I know Sleepy Hollow has like a pretty big reputation, but I'm gonna give you a disclaimer now because you seemed very excited that
Okay.
it's not very like heavily like commercialized paranormal meaning.
Yeah.
Like it's focused a lot on like legends and like very small paranormal like experiences and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to cover it anyway because I've wanted to do it long before I watched the movie. But then I watched the movie again and I was like, why not do it now? So, um, there was this thing called the rural cemetery movement where America was trying to rewrite what cemeteries and burial grounds should look like. In the early 19th century, city churchyards were overcrowded and unsanitary, and Americans became inspired by landscaped cemeteries in Europe, such as Père Lachaise Cemetery, and began creating large park-like burial grounds outside of the city centers. Sleepy Hollow Cemetery was a product of that movement, being established in 1849. So Sleepy Hollow followed the classic model of this movement with rolling natural terrain, curving carriage paths, ornamental plantings, monumental sculptures, and it was designed to feel reflective and serene. So it's not like a classic cemetery. It looks kind of like a park.
Mm-hmm.
So these cemeteries were not just for burial. People would literally go to them and treat them like parks. Like people would walk and they would have picnics and stuff there. But Sleepy Hollow was not always.
For me.
I would never do that, but like people did do that because it was built to look like a park. So like people would like celebrate nature and celebrate life there and everything. So just to give a picture of what it looks like there. So it's not like creepy necessarily. But Sleepy Hollow was not always named Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. So when it was established in 1849, it was called Tarrytown Cemetery, where local civic leaders created it to serve the growing populations of Tarrytown and the nearby village of Sleepy Hollow. So it's not even in Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, it's like next to it.
Yeah, it's like right next to it. It was intentionally placed on an elevated land overlooking the Hudson River, so the burial grounds would be scenic, breezy, and away from the dense settlement of Tarrytown. So it's serene like a park, but it's kind of secluded away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
The identity of the cemetery didn't change until the burial of one of the most famous people buried there. Do you know who it is?
The Headless Horseman?
No.
No?
No, the Headless Horseman isn't real.
Oh, no shit. I don't know why I said that. I was like, Sleepy Hollow, Headless Horseman. Wait, I feel like I know, but when you tell me, I'll be like, yeah, I knew that.
Do you want to know?
Just tell me.
So, Washington Irving lived in nearby Sunnyside, and when he died in 1859, he was buried in the cemetery. Irving was a popular author who made the area internationally famous due to his story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
I knew it had something to do with the Headless Horseman, so I'm still technically right.
Sort of, I guess. I'll give you half credit.
It's the man who created the story.
I'll give you half credit. You get half credit.
Thank you. I'll take it.
So after his burial, the cemetery gained literary significance and began gaining popularity. And in 1865, partly to capitalize on the association to Irving and the region's growing fame, Tarrytown Cemetery was officially renamed Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. The cemetery is the final resting place for people such as Walter Chrysler, the founder of Chrysler, Andrew Carnegie, who funded a bunch of public libraries, William Rockefeller.
I knew about Carnegie and Rockefeller. Definitely.
Bela Lugosi, who portrayed Dracula in the 1931 adaptation, William J., the son of John J., Henry Jarvis Raymond, who was the founder of New York Times, Charles Louis Tiffany, the founder of Tiffany and Company, among many, many more famous celebrities. So there's a lot of famous people that people like to see. So it's like a
I mean, it
tourist.
was New York.
Yeah, it's like a tourist attraction because of how many celebrities are like buried there. Like people go to see
Yeah.
these graves. So just to paint a picture in your head before we continue, I'm going to describe it a little bit more because there's not excessive crazy paranormal activity, so I focused on what it looks like. You don't have to include that. I just wanted to tell you that. So the cemetery is built on natural, uneven terrain rather than flat ground. The hills rise and fall gently, so it creates layered views. There are curved carriage paths that follow the contours of land, so there's no straight grid lines like a normal cemetery. Like when you are walking over to the graves, it's like straight up like gravel or grass. And like the carriage paths are nowhere near it. So it's like not an easy path to the graves. Some higher points offer
Gross.
wide view. Yeah. So you have to walk through like gravel and grass and stuff to get to the graves.
I don't like that.
Some higher points offer wide views of the Hudson River, which is obviously especially striking at sunset. I wanted to include that
Ooh.
because I've seen it and it's beautiful. There are a plethora of towering oaks, maples, and evergreens that are probably over centuries old, so very old trees. It spans about 90 acres, so it feels expansive, but it's still intimate in certain corners. And there are Gothic and Victorian sculptures, including pointed arches, crosses and angels, draped urns, and weeping figures with tall, narrow headstones.
Okay, then.
Some graves are marked with small temples, chapels, or miniature castles. So, for example, the Rockefeller family plot is marked by a towering obelisk. And then there are older pieces of property, such as the Old Dutch Church. So there's like a literal church, abandoned church, like on the property.
Love it.
Yeah. So Sleepy Hollow isn't exactly paranormally rich. It's more legend soaked than aggressively haunted. So its reputation comes largely from literature, the atmosphere, and local folklore rather than documented paranormal cases. But there are still paranormal things that happen there. It is a graveyard, you know?
Yeah.
There's spirits.
I would assume that the man who created the legend of Sleepy Hollow would also be haunting the place.
Maybe just a little. So, obviously, the biggest legend stems from Washington Irving's short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, The Headless Horseman. Um, while the horseman is traditionally associated more with the area of the Old Dutch Church of Sleepy Hollow than the cemetery itself, visitors sometimes claim hearing phantom hoofbeats at night, seeing a dark rider-shaped figure moving between trees, and feeling sudden cold gusts near the wooded edges. This one is solely folklore-based, and obviously, I don't really believe in the Headless Horseman, but it's what the cemetery is most famous for. So, in Irving's tale, now I'm sure most people know what the Headless Horseman is, but just in case you don't, the Headless Horseman is said to be the ghost of a Hessian soldier. So, a Hessian soldier is a German troop that was hired by the British during the Revolutionary War. So, they're like implanted into the world, you know. This soldier was decapitated by a cannonball during the American Revolutionary War, buried in the churchyard near today's Old Dutch Church of Sleepy Hollow, and rides nightly in search of his missing head. He terrorizes the superstitious schoolteacher Ichabod Crane, culminating in a nighttime chase where the horseman hurls what appears to be a severed head.
Fun.
That's the legend. Irving, obviously, as the author of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, is one of the most popular sites to be visited, obviously. He is buried in a modest family plot. It is not elaborate or anything. It's literally just a plot of land that he's buried in. So you have to do a lot of looking to find his plot. So around his plot, visitors report a calm, heavy stillness around the site. Unusual quiet compared to other sections, almost feeling like you don't hear anything at all. Like everything is just quiet, like you have headphones on, like noise canceling headphones. And occasional sightings of a shadowy cloaked figure nearby, because obviously during that time they wore big, like, cloaks. So they see big cloaked figures nearby. So people also report activity within the mausoleums when they walk through. So, like mausoleums are the ones
Yeah.
that get closed off. Like you can't go
Mm-hmm.
inside of it. It's like you put the grave in and then it's locked and you
Yep.
can't. Yeah. So flickering lights have been seen inside of the sealed mausoleums. So they just like it will start and they'll just see like the flickering lights and then all of a sudden it will just cut off. And then it will be dark for a couple seconds and then it will start flickering again.
Morse code. I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe there's a spirit in there trying to speak in Morse code. Who knows?
I don't know Morse code, so I wouldn't be of any help.
Me, I don't think a lot of people do.
That's too much work.
So there are reported sudden drops in temperature near the older stone crypts that may hold more of the more tragic spirits tied to the cemetery. So those subject to war deaths or tragic deaths. Like one death is literally getting run over by a carriage.
Yeah.
And people like report very cold temperatures near that specific grave.
No, thank you.
Um, So certain sections seem to feel more ominous than others with the feeling of being watched, even when you're alone. You could go to this section totally by yourself to visit a grave or even just look around and you'll feel eyes watching you from behind and see shadow figures lurking in different corners. So you'll never truly feel as though you can close your eyes. Like something will come out. You'll feel like something will come out from the dark if you close your eyes. And like something will just be there.
Good to know. Good to know.
So don't close your eyes in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery.
I don't plan on it. Thank you very much.
So I figured out that like although this general story is like very, very short, most of what happens there is like residual hauntings. Obviously, it's a cemetery,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a bunch of people's final resting place, residual hauntings.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
energy replaying over and over rather than like spirits that have the energy to like do crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
So like you won't have anything crazy paranormal happen. Like, things aren't getting thrown at you. You're not hearing like crazy disembodied screams or anything because they like just simply don't have the power to do that.
But no,
But
you will see a man on a horse with no head.
exactly, you'll get a severed head thrown at you.
Fun.
Sometimes people do feel emotional impressions when they're there, though, such as melancholy, sadness, or emptiness that feels stronger in certain plots, usually connected to the more depressing deaths, like a child dying young
Mm-hmm.
or like a war death. People report seeing shadow figures walk through the cemetery sort of aimlessly, which just supports the idea that these are merely residual hauntings. Sometimes the occasional female wail can be heard in the distant corners of the cemetery, or you'll smell the faint smell of baked goods like a baker is lingering, or men's cologne when there's no one near you at all, let alone wearing cologne. So you can smell baked goods, you can smell a men's cologne, you can hear a female wailing in the distance. It's great. Imagine you're just sitting there and you hear a female wail in the background, and then all of a sudden you smell like a cinnamon roll in your nose.
I would say I'll take the smell of like baked goods, but I think I'll pass on everything else.
Um, Sometimes you'll hear soft whistling, like a man whistling while they're working or something, or even children playing as if they died young and found another ghostly child to spend eternity with. So you'll just hear two children playing, like laughing or giggling, which is really creepy. There are vague human shapes that are seen hovering near plots of land or behind headstones. So you'll look over at a headstone and you'll see like the shape of a human head or like the shape of a human torso. But when you get closer, it seems to vanish into thin air. Some visitors report hearing human footsteps along the gravel trails when no one else is present, or they will hear the crunching of dried grass, leaves, or twigs in an area that no human or animal is actively walking through. So they'll hear like a twig snap next to them, and they'll look there, and there's no animal. Obviously, there's not another human. So what made the twig snap? So there are more intriguing stories, like, the occasional wail or scents wafting through the air, but it's a pretty tame place in nature,
Mm-hmm.
especially compared to the story from last week where, the devil was in a circle.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that last week. I'm not gonna lie.
See, but like now I won't be afraid that the devil's gonna kill me while I sleep tonight.
Ah, yes, that's why you said that. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. Um, so obviously the legends about the headless horseman and everything prime the mind to feel more spooky and spiritually
Mm-hmm.
inclined feeling than it really is. But that does not diminish the actual hauntings and spirits lingering there, no matter how small it seems, because even those small things are proof of something, you know?
Yeah.
So like it seems super small, but in the grand scheme of like proving that there's spirits or like there's an afterlife, they contribute to the bigger picture, which I find these things intriguing, but it kind of makes me sad because people think that stuff like that is lame, like lame stories.
It's not lame.
Because like to the general public, like it's not commercialized,
Yeah.
which like bothers me because like obviously these types of like residual hauntings are the basis for every single story.
Yeah.
Like it's the basis, even the violent ones. And like
Mm-hmm.
people overlook that as proof or like something bigger just because they're not flashy or like commercialized. So like it bothers me because how are you gonna like disregard something so small
Yeah.
just because it doesn't matter to you because it's not a ghost screaming in your face?
It has to start small before it gets big.
Yeah, but like people are attracted to flashy and like the crazy
Yes.
things.
Yes.
But like as someone who likes reading about the paranormal, even that being like such a short story because it's really just
Mm-hmm.
residual hauntings, like that's interesting to me. Like thinking about the concept of these
Yeah.
spirits being trapped like on Earth and you just like you'll see them or you'll hear them wailing or you'll smell their cologne or like something like that. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
intriguing to me.
Like,
But
I
like
like the little things because it makes you just feel like you're immersed in the situation.
it like it I don't know. I felt like I needed to say that it bothers me when people
No,
think it's
that's so
stupid.
valid.
Because how are you going to enjoy stories like, the demonic possession stories or like the
Mm-hmm.
violent spirits if you can't recognize that there's something at a base level? There has to be a basis
Exactly.
for other things. And most
But you gotta
hauntings
start
are
somewhere.
residual. Like those
Mm-hmm.
like bigger stories with like ghosts being violent and like scratching you or like throwing things or like the demonic possessions or everything. Those are on the less percentage side.
Yeah.
Almost everything is a residual haunting, but people don't care about it because it's not up to their commercialized standards.
Mm-hmm.
So like how are you going to ignore the majority of hauntings? I don't know. Anyway, my rant is done.
That was a good story. I was waiting for you to do Sleepy Hollow. Even though it's like not really a huge story, it's still like a piece of history, so to say.
Yeah, I was drawn to it because obviously Sleepy Hollow is my favorite movie, but also I am a history nerd. So like
Oh, same.
it's important to me. But then I was like
Mm-hmm.
sitting here and I was like, are people even gonna care if I'm like doing this story? Because of what I said, like the commercialization of paranormal activity. But I decided to do it anyway. I decided to say fuck you and I'm gonna do what I want. Anyway.
So valid. All right. Um, we're exhausted, so we're gonna do our sign off real quick. Um, duh, fuck. How do we do
Hold
our sign
on.
off?
Hold, hold please.
Ah!
Um, anyway, our Instagram is Let's Spill the Tea Pod. Our Gmail is lstt.pod@gmail.com. On our Instagram, there is a linked tree to both the Spotify and the YouTube. So if you go to our Instagram, you'll have links to everything. And that's it.
Cool. We spilled that tea. It was not long tea, it was short tea.
This is probably
But
the shortest episode.
you got a little sip of that tea.
You got your mouth. What?
You burnt your mouth on that tea? Like what?
I was gonna say, you got a tiny sip of the burning hot tea and you went, ow, that hurts, and you spit it back out. Like I did with my tea.
Okay, so apparently Corey spit that tea while the rest of us spilt the tea. Bye, guys.